Good afternoon, folks. Mike Wells, your World Explorer. Today is July the 1st, 2024, and we're going to take you on a tour through the entire food forest that we have on this property here today. What we're looking at are bromeliads, or at least they're part of the bromeliad family. These are our orchids, right? Over here, we have our air plants. Now, if my notes serve me correctly, the air plants were first established August 2018, okay? And orchids too, but the orchids we've been slowly adding over the years, just like air plants, but most of the air plants on the property were established in 2018. Let me show you some of the bigger ones. If we look over here, there's an older air plant that was established 2018. Here are some air plants over here in the low branches of our live oak trees that were established 2018. What they do is they produce quite a bit of seeds, but sometimes the squirrels come through and wreck the situation for them. It's a really nice low-hanging branch that I like to maintain in that way. Let's go to the other side of the property where there are a lot more air plants. Here is the entrance way to the property, or to the house. Got to clean up some branches, but if you look here, there's a nice older air plant that's been there for probably 6 years. Those bromeliads have self-propagated over time. It's a nice prickly looking pink bromeliad. Those have been here for probably 6 years. We've got some flaming torch bromeliads here. They're in pots though. I'm going to relocate them. Some nice orchids growing here. Beautiful. They establish well in the Florida climate. Some more. Look at this, is the one that has been here. This was one of the first. Now every year it like dies back, it seems, or maybe not every year, but when it produces its flowers, it dies back, and then a whole bunch of new ones come out in its place. Look at these orchids here. These are indigenous, and they've been here for a good short amount of time, maybe like 6 years. We're trying to get these orchids to grow, but they don't seem to be liking the climate. They might be some hybrid. This orchid's growing. It's got some new growth right here, so those will pop out soon. A bunch of orchids back there. Let's go look at the laurel oak. Now this laurel oak has had low hanging branches for some time, and so I saw that as an opportunity to get some really nice air plants established, and here they are. These were some of the first. Look at how many seed pods are on the way. Just intense. Really nice big. And we've got some pups on the way. One there. One growing there. Over here are some nice flowers. Some beautiful flowers that come from these air plants. These can get massive, these air plants. All right, I see some over there. Here are some bromeliads and also some orchids. Really beautiful orchids. Look at these. Color is unstoppable. Just so beautiful. Now let's go back this way. Tried to place some in these little spaces, but they always get torn out by the squirrels, so they don't really stay. But we've kept these guys here for a good amount of time. They seem to have anchored. Now these branches over here, just rife with opportunity in my opinion. Let's see if we can find some pups, some babies that have blown in the wind and transplanted themselves and started to grow from the mother plants. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of pup activity. Here's one that's been here for a good amount of time. Okay, let's look over here. That one's been here for a short amount of time, but you can see how well it's established. Where are some pups? I know we had some. There's a really good example of some pups. Wow. Those are going to be really nice over time. But you see these branches, these lower lying branches, right? They die off. And so that doesn't give the air plants much of an opportunity to do well. But look at this. My Lord. Look at all those seed pods. This is going to be amazing. Look at that. Look at that. And then look at all those guys down there. Definitely pioneers on the property. Now these oaks here, these live oaks, they're known to feature tons of bromeliads, air plants, orchids, ferns, you name it. They are known for that. So it was only appropriate to try and get them started on this property. If you look up there, boom, some big ones. Look at that. Right there in the knee or the crotch of the oak tree. Bunch of them. And that started off as one small one. Let's go take a look at something else. I'm going to take you through the backstory on all of these items in the yard. We'll start with the pineapple patch over here. We just covered our bromeliads and our air plants. So July of 2017 is when we started this pineapple patch. It was only, I think, 3 pineapple plants, and then it multiplied into, I think, 6 in total, and then from 6 it went to like 12, from 12 to, well, whatever it is now. But yeah, it continues to multiply. This year these pineapples are kind of small, but the first couple of years we had a lot more rain and a lot less sunlight, and the pineapples got really huge. So I have a feeling that it has something to do with the amount of light exposure and water and all that kind of stuff that determines their size. Through March, April, May is kind of dry, so that definitely had a negative impact on the size of these pineapples. But going forward, this pineapple patch will continue to grow, and we're gonna start planting some of the heads over there under the base of that oak tree. Looking for our merch with the Your World Explorer graphic on it? Go to Zazzle.com/YourWorldExplorer and get what you're looking for. Now we're gonna go ahead and migrate over to the cashew trees that we started in April of 2019. So that's about 5 years old right there, and you can tell that they are producing heavy right now, because if you look over here you'll see a bunch of them. Boom, bunch of cashews, tons of them. Look at that. They're just growing all over the place. They just unbelievable. So yeah, going forward we are going to have a huge amount of production come from these cashew trees. We look forward to it. Now we're going to go ahead and migrate over to our Barbados cherry tree. This one I think was November. Yeah, November 2017. We planted this Barbados cherry. It was only 3 feet tall. It came from a specialized grower. And well, now you see what it's evolved into. It's kind of a lot taller than 3 feet. That must be like 10 feet, I guess, at its highest point. But this thing will produce a massive amount of cherries when it wants to produce. Right now, I don't see a whole lot in the way of cherries being produced. So if we look, don't really see any cherries coming, but hopefully soon we'll get a nice round of production. Now we'll just move over to our pine trees. These were planted in January of 2018. Okay, specifically these three. So you got mom, dad, pretty tall, and first son. Then you have second born son right here. And so this one wasn't planted until later in 2018. We actually went and grabbed the pup out of the ground while we were on a little cactus adventure, my youngest son and I. And we brought the pup home, nursed it along in a pot, and then eventually planted it right there where you see it now. So 2018, all of these were planted, but these ones got a nice head start. They were much larger pups when we found them, and that's why they look so nice. This thing was, I kid you not, was maybe 6 tiny little leaflets. So this thing was literally right after it had germinated. Now you see the bricks at the base of these pines and some of this shrubbery. These are called dwarf oaks. A lot of people do not even know these exist in the world, but they do. There are 4 different varieties. I can't name to you all the names of the varieties. I haven't even memorized one, but they are dwarf oaks, and they're indigenous to the Florida climate, to the Florida environments. You can go out to almost any preserve and find some. Folks just walk past them all the time, and they don't know what they are. They don't research them. They don't try to know what they are. But these, they do extremely well in the Florida climate. It's basically after you nurse them along, from grabbing the acorns and sprouting them. After the first year, you nurse them along, and they it's set and forget, and they will just thrive on neglect here in the Florida environment. We'll go ahead and move over to what you see growing on the Eliade pines, and that's this dragon fruit cactus. Okay, we established them on the Eliade pines because there's this symbiotic relationship that we're trying to accomplish. These dragon fruit apparently like, or are said to like, acidity or an acidic type of soil. So with the pine needles falling and then landing on the soil like that, you're supposed to get a higher acidity. So we're testing that theory, and it seems to be holding true to some degree, because you're seeing these guys grow. Are they thriving? No. Are they yellow? No. So they're doing all right. I can't say that they're not doing as good as the ones that are over on the sable palms. Let's go take a look at them. Now I have a neighbor who's growing some of these, and he trains them, but mine, I'm just letting them do their own thing. They really have gravitated toward the trunk of these sable palms, and they just take on a life of their own, and they just keep climbing. So that's really something that I think is fascinating about these, is they just climb and climb and climb, almost like a giant snake, all the way up the canopy. Just incredible. We haven't gotten any fruit from them, but they were in heavy production back when they were growing on the trunk of one of the sable palms that we had to cut down. It was back there. They used to flower a lot, and well, now we're just gonna have to be patient and wait to see what happens. Now, let's look over here. I'm sure you saw this tree right here. This is a special tree. It's actually from Australia. It's called the macadamia. It's actually an evergreen too. These leaves, these leaflets are pretty hard. This is the tallest one on the property. I think it's around 10, 11 feet tall. This macadamia was germinated in December of 2019. So this one is in a full sun location. So they apparently do extremely well in full sun location. And, well, the soil content is just sugar sand. And we haven't fertilized it or anything. So they can do here in Florida, they can grow. Now going over here, you see a star fruit there, a star fruit there, star fruit there, and a star fruit there. These star fruit are heavy producers here in the Florida climate, and these ones were germinated in November of 2017. So again, no fertilizers, no nothing. They just grow well here. One thing about the star fruit is you don't want to plant them in a place where they get a ton of wind. Okay, they need a decent amount of sun and no wind because they're extremely sensitive to wind and they're intolerant. Now we'll go over here to this star fruit at the base. July of 2017, I found a hickory tree growing in the wild. I thought that was weird, so I took some seeds and I planted them here, and yeah, they're just growing here. But do we have anything significant? No, not yet. It's crazy to think that these are like, what, 2017, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 7 years old? My Lord. If it takes 7 years to just survive like this here in the Florida climate, then how long is it going to take for the hickory tree to become a tree? I don't know, but I don't think I'm going to live that long. Anyhow, we're going to move over to the Tainung 64, which we introduced to this property in September of 2021. It's just a really strong and hearty sweet potato that does well in the Florida climate. So that's why we have it here. We've done a bunch of tests to see what it grows best in, and so far it looks like this grow medium here is proving to be the best. We'll see what the yield is though later this year, because this is the first experiment inside of this grow medium. Now in September of 2019 we introduced these pomegranates, and you can see how big they are, the survivors anyway. They don't seem to enjoy this Florida climate for some reason. I don't know if it has something to do with the humidity or the sugar sand or whatnot, but we've been having a hard go at it. This particular one is starting to flower though, so maybe it'll prove me wrong and I'll be eating my words soon. But I would say a lot more about this, but you're just going to have to watch some of our other videos that cover the backstory of our pomegranate excursions. Now in May of 2019 we went ahead and planted this table olive tree, and it was only 3 feet tall. Well, it took about a year to start establishing its roots well enough to not need any assistance. And look, I mean, it's pretty tall now. It's like 6 years old. So we're really happy with that. Just Florida sugar sand is what it's growing in. You can grow a lot of stuff here in Florida because of this sugar sand. Now in September of 2021, we germinated these avocado seeds. These are the Florida avocados. They're not very tall yet, but they're working on it. Got another one over here. They're beautiful though. And when they start to produce, it's going to be a magnificent situation. Okay, now we're going to move over to our blueberry patch. Now this has kind of been neglected. I'm going to be trying to relocate these blueberry plants or bushes, but these aren't blueberries. These are just oak runners. The blueberries are in here. This is the blueberry. It's called a southern high bush. I have a different cultivar in here, but it really doesn't do all that well. This one right here. So we'll try to transplant them and see what we can get. I want to transplant them into a full sun location. Also, these were started on this property in September of 2020, so you can kind of see how big they've grown from then to now. Now in June of 2022, we received a Primark Freedom blackberry bush, which is thornless and supposed to be like an everbearing, but I don't think that's true. It doesn't have the thorns, that's true, but I don't, look at this. This is not indicative of everbearing. All the brown, I mean, maybe it's just the droughty conditions that came in May, March, April, and May that harmed it, but I don't know. We'll see. It's coming back. It has a clone too, because we successfully cloned this plant. Let's go take a look at the clone. It's just a stone throw away. Here, the clone is over here. See that? Wasn't expecting that to survive, but it did. Just growing here in Florida sugar sand. This particular location has a lot of leaves and detritus under the soil, so hopefully this can grow bigger and those leaves and detritus will keep it alive through the dry times, because we're trying to accomplish set and forget type of crops here. Now in July of 2021, we started to establish some citrus. We went out to a preserve and found this particular cultivar growing in the wilderness. It's more like a giant lemon, if you will, but apparently in the old citrus groves that have been abandoned and are now turned to preserves for restoration back to wildlands, they used to grow these, but they didn't grow this specific orange. They grew the rootstock. They grew, this for its rootstock, lopped off all the foliage and grafted the yummy types of oranges onto the rootstock of this type of orange, because apparently they back then were fully aware of the root knot nematode that exists in a lot of the Florida soil down here, and this particular cultivar is very resistant against the root knot nematode. So over here we found some other oranges growing wild. These are the yummy ones, but they were in understory canopies of the oaks in semi-wet territories. So we've got quite a few of those growing, and they seem to be doing just fine. They're not grafted onto any kind of nematode resistant strain, so we're just going to monitor these throughout the years as we go and see what kind of yield we can get. Now we have September 2021. We established this mass of vines. It's a passion fruit vine. This is the first year we've seen any flowers too. Now these, they get pretty thick, and I think they might grow thicker, but oh look at that. That is crazy. There are some passion fruit in there. I didn't even see those earlier. Holy smokes. Okay, so that's for another video, but hey, we just discovered something together. That's amazing. So yeah, passion fruit apparently can do very well here in Florida. This was definitely a set and forget project. So take that into consideration. Now in September of 2021, we started these mulberries from cuttings, literally, and they're doing just fine. We have a dwarf mulberry right next to it. This one was started in July of 2022, but you see, they kind of just grow on their own. This is probably one of the drier parts of the property too, so the fact that they're able to survive over here is astonishing in my opinion. It plays into the set and forget that we're looking to accomplish. Here are some more. Here are some more. And definitely some more. But you see the one that is in the most shade, the broadleaf mulberry, is doing the best. Okay, now March of 2021, we started to grow some jackfruit. Now we received the seeds from Hawaii. So apparently they grow really well over there, but they're not doing too bad over here in Florida. Similar climates, I would imagine. We're in a zone, USDA hardiness zone 9A 10B border, so it does freeze here from time to time, but last year we received no freezes. But these jackfruit, they can survive through a mild freeze, I would say. Now in September of 2021, we started the Golden Dorset apple, and that's what this is. This is the remnant. It is dead. So that one didn't survive. We also grew from seed the red apple. It's the Red Delicious. If you don't cage them when you're growing them, the rabbits will eat them down to the ground like this one. You can see the sticks that are left behind. See right there, just a couple of twigs. Hopefully this comes back, but if it doesn't, oh well. We have two others that are doing just fine. Let's go. Okay, here we are at the front of the property. There's another jackfruit. This one gets more sun than the one in the back, but you can see it has less leaves. Still taller though. Now if you look here, this is the Anna apple tree. It has leaves that are inoculated with beneficial bacteria and beneficial fungi. Same thing, huge pit with same grow medium. Anna apple tree. Now this is the old Anna apple tree. We tried to transplant from the back to the front, didn't survive. Same thing with the Golden Dorset. We had another Golden Dorset. This particular stem did not survive, but we have a pup down here that is surviving. So as it establishes, hopefully it just does well. Now the greening, you see the greening of the leaves, the dark green, that's what you want to see. So that's a very good sign that this Golden Dorset is going to be happy in this location. Folks, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as that helps the channel grow. I've just shown you most of what we have available on our property and given you tons of backstory dialogue regarding the beginning of each grow experience with the different fruiting trees that we have and the different nut trees and so on and so forth. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it helps the channel grow, and stay tuned, as I will keep you updated on the progress of everything that we have growing on this property. Have a great day.